Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I'm David Allen, or if you like, Super Dave. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat today. We have Michael Gene Fleming. Good morning, y'all. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. We are going to be covering today Snake Eyes version 4. Which has been coined as the paintball Snake Eyes through the fans and the collectors over the years. Number 165 in the classified line. I will preface this by saying this version of Snake Eyes has not always been my one of my favorite versions of Snake Eyes. I like Snake Eyes version 3 better, but I know it is the signature Snake Eyes for a whole area and period of the G.I. Joe community and the brand. It was licensed and advertised and merchandised and promoted quite a bit during a certain period of the G.I. Joe brand. And I'm okay with those people that like that, stuff like that. It just wasn't my cup of tea at that point. So, but we're still going to go into the figure, and we're going to go over the history of the character and that version of the figure, like we do with every other thing. But I just wanted to give that little bit of information there for people, so they know that this is not my favorite version. Okay, so we're going to go into first Dan Klingsmith's series of books, and we're going to talk about this version of Snake Eyes. Let's see. So it's volume 1. Good morning, Terrence Child. Thanks for joining us today. Good morning to all. So this is Creating G.I. Joe by Dan Klingsmith Jr., Real American Hero, volume number 1. So let's see. We have Snake Eyes version 4. Except that's the bat. See if I can get a better. There you go. Better version of that. Snake Eyes version 4 there. So then we have alternate names. An A, year release 1991, designed by Kurt Groin. So Kurt Groin took over the design job after Mark Pennington in 89, and he did quite a lot of stuff. And he worked at Hasbro and on the G.I. Joe brand for a long, long time. He also had a hand in doing the G.I. Joe Hall of Fame series, which also included this version of Snake Eyes in that as well. It says, asked to push the envelope and get away from the traditional look of Snake Eyes being dressed in black, Kurt wanted to give him a new modern ninja design, wearing combat gear and having elements of a ninja intermixed into his attire. He was trying to create a true commando and ninja combination. This version of Snake Eyes was well received by some and looked down upon by others. While attempting a G.I. Joe convention in 1993, Kurt recalled a question and answer session that he and Vinny DeLeva, product manager, attended. During this session, a collector in the front made a complaint about the new design and how he disliked the change. Shortly afterwards, two gentlemen who were not in attendance during the complaint asked who was responsible for designing the new Snake Eyes. Looking at Vinny, Kurt expected to receive more negative feedback from these fans. Instead, they received praise from these two gentlemen, as well as others in the crowd who were silent during the earlier complaint. Hearing this, he felt very good about his decision to make these changes. So that's the interesting thing about G.I. Joe and anything in life, to be honest. There are differing opinions. There are differing opinions of whether you like something or if you don't like something, or different elements that you like or don't like. It's just the nature of anything with an opinion. So the fact that some people liked it and some people didn't, is perfectly fine. Those are all valid points for each of those people from whatever perspective they're coming at from their own likes and desires and so on and so forth. So that's an interesting way to explain it. Hello, everyone. Dude Stuff 2025. Thanks for joining us. I didn't have the O-ring figure uh, of the of this back in the day, but I did have his Hall of Fame version as my very first Snake Eyes, and it is still my favorite vintage design. See, there you go. And that's very valid, Michael Gene Fleming, and you're welcome to that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't take anything away from that. You're entitled to that. What's up, Super Dave? What's up, fellas? Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you, 610 Yojo Daddy. We appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day as well. The O-ring version is awesome. G.I. Joe 6617 likes the O-ring version. What's good, all? Gunpowder Nitro has joined us. Thank you, Gunpowder Nitro. Not much, just going over Snake Eyes version 4 and determining that there are differing opinions on this particular version of Snake Eyes, whether you like it or you don't like it. All those opinions are valid opinions coming from your own perspectives. The 1985 Snake Eyes is number 1, and the Commando Snake Eyes is 2, second best, but both are fantastic. Yeah, I think Snake Eyes has been very lucky. He's had mostly very good variations over the history of the brand. There's not a lot that I could say in the Snake Eyes realm that have been bad, because he's such a cool character and the elements of the character have always been unique. This is definitely a different version of him. He goes off, he veers off from his traditional all black color deco, but it is a unique version, and I know there are a lot of people that do like it, and those are all very valid. Version 3 is great too. Yeah, version 3 is my favorite version. Personally, because of story reasons, I absolutely love version 4. Even have a version 4 black hoodie. Very cool. So it's definitely one of those dividing lines in the community about Snake Eyes. There's people that like the very first one, and then there's people like the second one with the visor and timber. Then the people that like version 3, like me. There's also a lot of people that like version 4. Some people like even the Ninja 4 Snake Eyes. I personally don't like that one that much at all. I would even say version 4 I like more than version 5. But if you really wanted to put it into like an order, I would say in my fandom, in my opinion, version 3 is my favorite, then version 1, then version 4, then version 2, then version 5. So my way of looking at Snake Eyes is probably a lot different than most people, but you know, there's also comic book versions that never appear as toys. There are a lot of other toys that never appear in any other animation or content. Like there's a Renegade Snake Eyes that's a little weird. There's the Resolute Snake Eyes that's excellent. There's some during Valor vs. Venom. There's some during Sigma 6. There's some during Joe vs. Cobra, the new Sculpt era, even Classified, that are phenomenal versions. But then there's some that are, I think some of the ones with Timber, I think maybe the first one was okay. I didn't really care for the greenish one that was the second one, but it's just, that's the nature of this. Everybody's gonna like things differently, and everybody's gonna have their opinions of what's better and what's not better, and so on. So we're gonna move on from that for now. See. I'm going to have to go look. You're going to have to go look for what? I don't see a Snake Eyes with a black hoodie. That's interesting. I'm not sure. So then we're going to go into the package design. Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe, Volume 5, 1990 to 1992 by R. Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. So we have the package for the original package for Snake Eyes version 4 there. And you can see he comes with a lot of neon red accessories to match his goggles. And then we have his very first appearance in G.I. Joe Real American Hero 119 by Larry Hama and Marvel Comics. That was in the 90s. And I don't recall if Snake Eyes version 4 was in DiC. One of you guys in the chat, let me know, Michael Gene Fleming or 610, let me know if Snake Eyes version 4 appeared in DiC. I think he was on the credits. I think Snake Eyes version 4 was in the credits of DiC, the animated series in the 90s, but I don't know if he actually made any appearances in those episodes. The 1991 the paintball version is not as cool as the black versions of Snake Eyes, Ninja Force version 5, and the you got cut off there. I have a black hoodie I wear with V4 Snake Eyes on Cobra Emperor, not a figure with a black hoodie. Yes, version 4 is in the DiC cartoon. Okay, cool. I thought he was. I knew he was on the credits, but I wasn't sure if he actually appeared in that episode because I know that a lot of the ninja stuff is in that that's can't recall because I kind of black out DiC animated series a lot because it's so bad that I really don't like it. So yeah, it's a weird thing, but yeah. All right, so then we're gonna go into the figure, the vintage figure, and here is the vintage figure. And you can see he's definitely distinctly different than the other versions of Snake Eyes. He's got red goggles, he's got a gray secondary, he's got a lot more blue on him, and so on and so forth. So he's a very unique figure in the lineage of Snake Eyes. And he comes with this big, huge red gun that I think is like absolutely ridiculous. This red gun. Look at it. It's huge. And so look at this gun compared to the figure. It looks absolutely ridiculous. A lot of the weapons were just ridiculous during this period. And then he comes with this big harpoon gun that's kind of like a backpack. It goes on his back and it has a harpoon so he can launch himself up and climb up walls and things like that. They were trying to do a lot more gimmicks in the 90s with G.I. Joe. It's ridiculous. I understand what they were going for. And I understand they were trying to appeal to like the kids that were into like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman at the time, but it's so crazy. But it is what it is. It's the time, and we change with the times. We go with the time period that we're in, and we have to go accept it like that. Let's see. They had Commando Snake Eyes and 1985 version in the cartoon, and they also have the paintball version in the cartoons. Yep, I'm aware. Thank you, G.I. Joe 66 Delta 17. You have version 3 on your shirt. No, this is actually version 2 on my jacket. This is the version 2. This is the timber with the visor Snake Eyes, version 2. Or is that version 2 Super 7 version on your shirt? It's it's a comic book cover. It's issued the 25th anniversary issue of G.I. Joe from Marvel Comics. I believe it's like 43 or 44. They did an anniversary. It has an all yellow background and it has this artwork on it, and it's a Zek design for the comic from the 80s. That's a big gun, but what kind of sound does it make? It doesn't make any sound. It's not a sound attack or a sound Snake Eyes, Gunpowder Nitro. I don't think he was in the sound gimmick. That was a bunch of other characters. Grappling hook, LOL. Yeah, I think grappling hooks are really cool and I like them, but that one is absolutely huge. Such a big harpoon for only 4 inches of line. Yeah, exactly. Spring loaded missile launchers were and are awesome. Yeah, they are, but I just think that one's a little too big. 53, yeah. So this is the cover to 53. And then on the back is the cover to, I think, like 60 something or other. 60, it might be 63 or 64, somewhere around that. And there's some other artwork on the sides as well from that issue. So, all right. So now we're done with that version of Snake Eyes. We're just going to sit him over here. We're going to go into the classified 64, I believe. Yep, somewhere around there. I knew it was around there somewhere. It's a very cool piece of artwork on there. I like that artwork. I think it incorporates all the elements, the red neon and the red goggles, and he still looks like he's in action doing his ninja thing there. So then we're going to go into the designations, the target artwork, and the QR code on this side, and we'll see what the designations have to say for this version of Snake Eyes. So we have infiltration is the first one. No, it's actually covert ops is the first one. Then we have bladed weapons. Then we have stealth, and then infiltration. So those are all your things with Snake Eyes. It makes sense that he would have all those in the designations. And then we have the photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy, Mike and Matt there, and a couple of callouts on the package there. Let's see. Who do we have back here? We have some Fangs. Again, this is like the 4th package to include Fang helicopters, but yet we've never got the Fangs in Renegade, in Classified yet. Great shirt regardless. Thank you, 610 Yojo Daddy. It's a jacket. It's from Graffiti Designs. It's one of my 3 or 4 jackets that I have. I like wearing this one because it has Snake Eyes on it. So they have 3 fangs in the background. We have a grappling hook. It doesn't look like there's anybody else in the background to my knowledge, but that's like the 3rd or 4th package to add the Fang there. And I don't know if we're getting a Fang this year. I hope we do, but we'll have to wait and see. So then we have the loadout and all the accessories, Snake Eyes, and there's no call outs to anything else there. I know this was Lenny's favorite Snake Eyes, so it makes sense that he would get it into the line sooner rather than later. He's stated on several streams. Lenny, the designer from the Hasbro team, said that this was his favorite version of Snake Eyes growing up because he's from that period. He's an 88 to 90 something kid. And that's a big factor in these things, whether you like something or you think something's better or worse. Depends on when you grew up with it. My friend Jason also grew up during this period, and another friend of mine, Terry, who's on our Toy Talk Live on Sundays at 2 every week. He is also from that period. That's his favorite Snake Eyes as well. So then we have the package with the Stars and Stripes interior. So let's get this out of here. So right off the bat, it's a recurring thing with Classified. I must say that the coloring is definitely subdued again on this one. Did Lenny tell you that the Cobra Fang was coming out for Classified line this year? They never say anything about leaks. Lenny, Tony, BMAC, or Emily will never react to anything that has not been announced. So if there's a render, if there's a toy, if there's a name only, they will talk about that stuff. But they will never talk about things like the code words. They will never talk about the leaks that we've had on our show, and Destro is my spirit animal has on his show, and other people have on their channels. They will never talk about that stuff. So the fact that there's fangs on the package, it's one of those call outs, but they won't say if it's coming or not. That is a line that they've drawn over the years with this brand and classified. So they won't mention that. I would love there to be a fang, and there's been a rumor for a year or two that we're getting it, obviously, because of the package call outs, but I don't know. The Marvel Legends fan stream will begin shortly. I don't do Legends, but like to check it out after this show. Yeah, it'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't plan on being here that long. The Skiff in Zanzibar. Yeah, that would be a good one too. Hello, Clement. Thanks for joining us. Good morning. Is coming. What makes you think the Skiff with Zanzibar is coming? That's interesting. I've not heard that thus far. So looking at Snake Eyes version 4 and looking at the classified version, you can tell there's a definite color disparity. He's a lot more brighter and he's a lot more darker. So that is another thing that they always do with classified. They do the subdued color scheme. So the blues on him are much darker all over the body. But they do have a lot of the same elements. Like they have the armor on the shins. They have the blue stripes. They have the knee gauntlets. And they have the secondary. And they have, obviously, the goggles with the red color deco and the silver, like, metal faceplate there, which it all looks perfectly fine. It looks just like it should with the Snake Eyes version 4. It's darker. And then there's less blue than there was in the vintage one. They had a lot more blue. Because they may have made most of the Dreadnoks so far. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, G.I. Joe 66 Delta 17. They've made most of the Dreadnoks, and they probably will get to Zanzibar. And a lot of the parts to make Zanzibar are already there. The boots have already been used for, like, Dr. Mindbender. We've got plain shirtless bucks already. The only thing they would need to do is, like, create a new head with some a ponytail or whatever. A lot of the weapons already exist, so Zanzibar is not that difficult to make, and I believe we will get it. There's been a couple of Dreadnoks each year, just like Snake Eyes has been like 2 Snake Eyes a year, and some years have been more Snake Eyes. So I think we will get Zanzibar, but that has not been leaked or name dropped or anything like that. So I don't know where you got that information that he was coming this year. I have not heard that. Do you think Grizzle? I think Grizzle will get made at some point. He's an Iron Grenadiers character. We just have to wait. It's a 90s character. I'm sure we'll get that character. I don't think it's like a priority, but it's another Iron Grenadier and it's a Cobra, so I'm sure we'll get to it. It's just they're balancing these 5-figure waves and balancing everything out. I talked about this earlier in the year, that they said it during the Brazil CCXP convention. Someone did an interview with her, and she talked about how this all works. They try to come up with a line plan, like, obviously we're doing the whole Arctic thing. That's the line plan. That's the main line plan. Then they create little stories throughout the years. Like the Cobra La is a story that they've been playing out over the last couple of years, starting with the Once a Man Cobra Commander. We've been getting the figures. The whole movie idea has been a line story element. They've been doing the Slaughters Marauders. They've been releasing all the Rawhides, all the Cobra La, blah. So that's been a story that they've been playing out over the last few years. Then they do little storylines, like this year they're doing the whole Ninja Force. So starting with Zartan, who's a Ninja Force. They started it last year, actually, because they did the 2 Ninja Force slice and dice figures. And then I think there was another Ninja Force somewhere in there. So they're doing that storyline. So they do these small storylines. They do the big storylines, the line plans. Then they do stories that they add to over a few years. She talked about this, how they do this stuff. And that's what we're going to see this year. We're seeing the Arctic play out. We're seeing that story element of the Ninja Force play out. We're seeing the larger story of the movie play out over 2 or 3 years. And so then they're going to pepper in some added stuff like Iron Grenadiers, like Crimson, characters that we haven't seen yet that are new characters, and so on and so forth. So you can look at the years, you can look at the line plans for the years, and you can see that is true, that what she said is accurate. Do you think Grizzle would look good as a Dreadnought? Zanzibar might be coming next year. Yeah, I would say Zanzibar might be a strong candidate for next year. Cobra Wolf, possibly, you never know. It's a matter of reuse with vehicles, Gunpowder Nitro. If you can get multiple versions of the Cobra Wolf, like do a Night Force version of the Wolf, do like the regular version, and then do maybe an Arctic. Well, it is Arctic, or a Crimson version or Dreadnought version, something. That's where you got to look at vehicles, is reuse. If you can get multiple versions of something, at least 3 versions of it, then you could probably see it in classified. But they're not going to do one-offs. They're not going to do a bunch of one-offs because they're not going to be able to reuse that stuff. And the molds are expensive for this size vehicle, classified size vehicles. Haven't heard Zanzibar either, but am hearing at least 2 versions of Snake Eyes this year for sure. Maybe more. First version should be shown tomorrow. Yep. So we're probably going to get Don Moreno. That'll be the first Snake Eyes of 2026. Then there's a rumor that in that Ninja Force story plan, that's a Target exclusive, we may get a Ninja Force Snake Eyes later in the year. So those will be your 2 Snake Eyes for this year. But back to this figure. So they took away a lot of the blue. So they did do some elements of blue around the legs and the back and so on. But it's a nice update to the vintage one. I'll say that. Other than the less blue and the darker blue, it's a nice version of that figure. I'll say that. It's a good version. It's a standout version of Snake Eyes, and it's distinct. So when you look at all your Snake Eyes, you can tell that this is definitely Snake Eyes version 4. And I like the fact that they have the little ninja feet toe things. I love those. And they give that like angle on the feet so you can have him like stand in an angle like that. I like that part as well. It gives a little bit of a cool story element. So let's get into some of his accessories. First off, we're going to go into that big gun and see if the big gun matches the other gun. Well, it's definitely not the same color. I'll say that much. It does have the red highlights. It has the red highlights on there with the deco, and I think we've seen this gun before, so that was a little future proofing. So if you look at these 2 guns, they're almost the same size. And this is so funny that they made the guns practically identical size. I would have liked this to have been bigger just to have fun like they did with that. But it's okay, you know. But Snake Eyes Uzi, he always comes with an Uzi. So that makes sense that he would come with that again. There. So there you go. Snake Eyes with his Uzi, with his red deco. So then we have the grappling hook. One of the very rare figures, ninja figures, that comes with the rope. Very rare that you have any of the ninja characters that should have rope, or Alpine or them, come with rope. Very interesting. Let's see. Oh, nice. MP5K. There you go. So that's interesting. I'm wondering if we'll be able to put that on his backpack. And speaking of his backpack, we've had this backpack 2 or 3 times. It's the double sheath sword backpack. So we'll put that on his back. There. That. I forgot to mention that there's his articulation points are as thus. He's got the butterflied shoulders, he's got the double pinned elbows, the double pinned knees, the foot rocker. He does not have the secondary. Actually, he does. It's underneath these knee shin guards. You can articulate the secondary point of articulation on the ankles there. He's got the crotch and leg articulation. He has the ab crunch underneath that secondary. He's got the head rocker. He's got the foot, I should say the wrist articulation, and he has the secondary wrist articulation, which makes sense with Snake Eyes. One of the things that I really like is he's got the ninja like writing on the wrist guards as well on both sides, and there's some little details in the shin guards on the legs as well, going all the ways around, with a little bit of red on the ankles, little deco of red there that really stands out, and it makes it look really distinct. And he has some little throwing knives decoed into that secondary there on his right leg there. So there's all this little red deco detail that they've added with this figure to make it pop a little bit. But he has a lot of black and a lot of grays on him as well. So then we have his 2 ninja swords that also have a little red deco on them as well. He's got the 2 swords there, and they have that little red deco in there. You can hardly see it's on the blade, and then the ends are black. So we're going to put those into his back there. There. So then we have that on his backpack there. Hey, good morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining us. Morning, Joe Bros in the chat and Super Dave. Thank you. I think this version would look good in a Arctic scene. Hey, yeah, that's an interesting point. We got a lot of Arctic coming. His gauntlets are beautiful. Yeah, they really are. It's a very unique added detail that was not on the vintage one that I think was something they classified up a little for this. So now that accessories on here, I'm going to put his grappling hook. I'm going to see about putting that maybe in over here or something like that, or on somewhere where he can use it. Maybe I can take one of the swords out and I can put the grappling hook in there. Maybe does seem a little bit too big, so it doesn't really fit on there. So there's not a spot for it. I'm sure if I unspool the rope, I could put the grappling hook on his backpack. So for now, I'm just going to put it in his hand as if he's going to climb up a wall. So then I have all of his accessories on him, which I'm very happy about, that I can get all of his accessories on him, because I like it when the figures can hold all their equipment. So there. So I added the grappling hook like that on there. And then also the secondary on his left leg, he can put the gun. If I need to put the gun and have him climbing up a wall, I can have him do that. So there's some playability with this figure where you can do a lot of different stuff with it, which I think is really interesting. The ability to do different photography or do different dioramas with this, have him climbing, have him using his sword, his gun, and you can store most of the stuff in the different places if you have to, which is great. There's so much little details on this. You have to really get a good close look of it, like the metal on the faceplate. There's all those little rivets and stuff like that in there, and edging around the goggles. I don't know. I think it would have been kind of cool if the goggles were removable, maybe. But it looks very nice. I think they did a really good job for a character version that I'm not fond of. I think it's a nice figure, regardless. Did they make Sub Viper for Classified or Swamp Viper? Nope, not to my knowledge. GI Joe 66 Delta 17, not yet. I display the hook just one in the backpack, so he has a sword in hand. Yeah, I think if I undid the spool of the grappling hook, I'm sure I could fit that in the backpack and then put the sword in his hand. But he was portrayed in the comics a lot climbing stuff with this version in the comics. So I'm gonna probably leave it like that for now, because it's a lot of Snake Eyes that I have swords in hand. So I want to have a distinctly different Snake Eyes with something different going on. Which is fine, 610 Yojo Daddy. You do you, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. So then I'm going to put him on a stand. Let's see if we can get him to stand without too much trouble. All right, so I got him on his stand. There. No problems with that. He's a little top heavy. There, we got him. So we got both Snake Eyes version 4s now, all ready to go. You know what's interesting that you mentioned that 610 Yojo Daddy, that he has his grappling hook in the vintage one. So it makes sense that you can store the grappling hook in the backpack to make it mimic the vintage one. I think that's interesting. I wonder if that was an intentional thing by the classified team on that Snake Eyes, because it is a very cool thing that it matches, so you can get the grappling hook in there, right? Yes, sir. Do what makes you happy. There you go. Everybody has their own play patterns and stuff like that. And somebody made a post in Facebook this morning, and I thought it was a very interesting post. They said, do you consider making dioramas and photography playing with your toys? And I'm like, yes, consider making dioramas and photography playing with your toys. And there's a lot of people in the chat that are into that sort of stuff. Do you guys consider photography and diorama playing with your toys? I believe it is. You know, I don't do photography and I don't do dioramas, but I still think it is. I just wonder what sound a grappling hook would make. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. I'm going to see if I can make a sound that is accurate to a grappling hook. I'm going to go whoop, 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 clink. How about that? Does that sound like a grappling hook? I've seen plenty of ninja movies and plenty of action movies where they do grappling hooks. Even James Bond, in a lot of the James Bond movies, he's like doing a grappling hook. Oh man, that's funny. You guys are hilarious. I have so much fun with you. I wish you were all closer. I could just have you come over to the house and just hang out with me and do this stuff with everybody. Clink or clunk or clatang or something like that. Oh man, you guys are great. So let's see what else is going on. So we got one more day to find out about that new Snake Eyes, possible tomorrow. and it's Don Moreno. I'm willing to bet. I'm really, really willing to bet that it's Don Moreno. It's got to be. It's got to be, right? Um, Everything that I'm hearing, everybody that's anybody in this GI Joe YouTube world agrees with me, and they're pretty sure it's that. It's just we're getting a Don Moreno this year. I know that, so it just adds up to that being who it is, and that it makes sense. It would be another Snake Eyes release this year. So let me know what you guys think about that. Our next figure is another. I'm at 99%. It's Don. Period. Yeah, 610 Yojo Daddy. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Dave, love your top. Oh, you like my jacket? Yeah, I have a bunch of these jackets. I don't get to wear a lot of this stuff that often, so I have to wear it during my videos. I got a lot of these type of things, but it's fun. Thank you, Clement. Can't wait to see her. I bet they knocked it out of the park. Yeah, because I think there's going to be a lot of elements that are brand new elements with a Don Moreno figure, because it's a female version of Snake Eyes. So it's going to have the visor, it's going to have the helmet, it's going to have a lot of red elements, and it's going to have a female physique. And I think maybe parts of that might be used for the Ninja Force Scarlet, because she's got the red shoulder pauldrons similar to Xandar Zarana and some of the other Dreadnoks, and that was also part of Scarlet's costume, I believe. Those Ninja Force shoulder pauldrons, right? So I think that's going to end up being reused in the Scarlet Ninja Force, if we do get that Scarlet Ninja Force with Chabang as part of the Chabang 2-pack Target exclusive. We'll have to wait and see. You should wear your Cobra jacket tomorrow. Why my Cobra jacket? Because the next character is a Cobra. It's actually the next character we're going to do tomorrow is actually a Dreadnought, and it's probably one of the best Dreadnought figures that the classified line has ever made. In my opinion, it's probably right up there at the top of the Dreadnought pile of figures. And that's our next figure tomorrow. The day after that is going to be another Cobra Commander character version. That'll be on Thursday. So I could wear then. I'll wear my Cobra Commander jacket then. G.I. Joe 66 Delta 17. But tomorrow I'll probably wear a Dreadnought, something Dreadnought themed. Then wear your black leather jacket and vest for the Dreadnought review. Yeah, I can do that. I have a Dreadnought jacket for that. I usually wear my Dreadnought like homage to Guns N' Roses when I do Dreadnoughts, but now I have my Cold Slither shirt. Maybe I'll wear that, because this particular character was on the box for Cold Slither back there, so maybe I'll wear my Cold Slither shirt again. Fantastic. All right, so then we have the Senflow Joe Show 2025, 2026, April 19th. Let me see if I get a better light there. 2026, April 19th in Deltona, Florida, Central Florida, the center at Deltona. If you're interested in vendor space or any inquiries about the show, you can go to the Senflow Joe Show at yahoo.com for any information. Typically, I'm the one that answers those emails. So there you go. GNR. Cool. Pre-orders for Dawn Only should go up around Thursday the 12th. It is a mainline standard release, so it will be available easily and eventually. Yep, Dawn Moreno is a mainline release. It'll be part of the 5-figure wave that'll probably be going up very soon, if not next week, I would say, sometime after Toy Fair. Will be the 5-figure wave. Senflo Joe Show. There you go. Thank you very much, 610 Joe Daddy. So I'm anticipating that we're going to be getting 8 or 9 pre-orders next week. So we're going to be getting the 5-figure wave. We'll probably be getting the Forest Zartan, Zanya, the Swamp Skier, the Royal Guard. Well, probably all that stuff will be going up next week sometime for pre-order. And Dawn Moreno, I think, is Thursday at 1 p.m. Or tomorrow at 1 p.m., I think, right? 610 Joe Daddy? Tomorrow at 1 p.m., I think it goes up for pre-order, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Thursday, maybe tomorrow. I can't remember. Keep an eye out on everything. If you want to order Dawn Moreno and that figure and all that other stuff next week. What else? I don't know if they're going to do a Pulse stream next week after. Sometimes they do that. They'll do a little Pulse stream to go over everything that they showed off at Toy Fair. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, because I know the studio is being torn down because they're moving everything to Boston. Now the Hasbro headquarters is moving to Boston, Massachusetts. So I don't know if they already did that video or what, but we'll have to wait and see to see what happens with that. What else? So if you're interested in going to the Senflo Joe show, we're going to have Mark Pennington as our main guest designer of G.I. Joe in the 80s on the vintage line. We're going to also have package artist and designer, figure designer Adam Riches. We're going to have toy designer and figure painter Strike Force Alpha creator Matt LaCroix. We're going to also have comic book artist, cover artist Jason Mark Sobel. We'll also have author Roger Taft of After Action Report. We'll also have comic publisher Rising Sun Publishing and Hawk Saunders. Joe Fest will have a booth. I'll have a booth. There's going to be tons and tons of toys that you guys will be able to buy. Vintage toys of all ilks. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, Transformers, Thundercats, you name it, all kinds of vintage toys will be at the show for you guys to buy. Comics will be there. We have several booths of comics. So if you're able to and you're in the southern Georgia area, southern Alabama area, all of Florida, please come out to Florida and enjoy yourselves. Have the nice vacation and come to the Senflo Joe show Sunday, April 19th. Let's see. 610 Joe Daddy. It will be Sean off tomorrow at Larry's. Pre-orders the next day is what I'm hearing. Okay. Thank you very much. Shown off. Okay. Shown off tomorrow and then pre-ordered on Thursday. Being wrong before though. So that's okay. You know, we can be wrong. This is just us having a conversation and talking and discussing these things. I'm going to have a deep dive into all the Toy Fair coverage from Toy Fair 2026 next Monday night at 7 p.m. with Same Time Toys joining me in that discussion, going over all the new stuff. So join us. Hopefully we won't have any technical issues. I apologize for the technical issues the other day. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm looking into it to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into Snake Eyes version 4. It's a unique figure. I think they did a really good job with the classified version. Like I said, I'm not a big Snake Eyes version 4 fan, but I think it was a very good figure overall, and I'm glad for the people that did get it and do like it, that they were able to. It's a big Snake Eyes G.I. Joe video. So we're going to go with Yo Joe. Snake Eyes rules. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next one.